Oh,
Jimmy.
hi.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
I didn't see you there.
Jimmy, you are my guinea pig for this new format I want to try. It's
Okay.
called What Makes a Maker.
Okay.
I realized I travel so much and I'm friends with so many interesting people that I should just talk to them on camera.
Yeah. It'll be good. It'll be good history material.
I think so too. The tricky thing is starting with you is great because everybody knows you.
Oh, thank you.
But I listened to probably every Making It episode. I saw so many of your, I did,
Sorry.
I saw so many of your vlogs, and it's really hard to come up with questions that nobody asked you.
I know.
So I know a lot about your childhood. You were making since you were a kid, right?
Ever since I was old enough to stand.
Yeah, and you used making also to make money in school. I remember you talked about how you cut up bandsaw letters and sold it to your,
The classmates. It was my dad's idea. My dad pushed me and my brothers to do that.
Okay.
That was the first way I made money.
So you were a businessman, a business maker right from the start.
Yeah, because of my dad.
Cool. What I'm interested in is, was there a moment where you saw making more as your voice, where you realized, okay, this is more than a business, this is more than something that I'm good at or interested in, this is how I can actually express myself?
I guess, yeah. I guess it's honestly always been there. There's never been like a moment where of realization like a lot of guys have now because of what's going on with YouTube and everybody. It was always there for me. It was the way I communicated in school. Everybody knew. More people knew what I was good at before I knew what I was good at.
Yeah.
You know, like I think you had that similar experience
Yeah,
where everyone's
exactly.
like, "Oh, you know how to draw? Can you draw this?" I'm like, "I don't know how to fucking draw." No, you're really good at. You're a good artist. I'm like, "Am I?"
Yeah.
So more people saw that in me first before I really kind of noticed because it was so natural to me. I wasn't like I'm an artist and I'm different than everybody else. I was just me.
Yeah.
And then when people say, "Oh, you can draw," I'm like, "I can? I'm the same as everybody else."
Yeah.
Kind of, when I was really young. So there wasn't any epiphany. There was never any like light bulb moment. I guess, and then even with this YouTube movement, I slowly kind of transitioned into not having to deal with regular people on a day-to-day basis as far as clients, and to dealing with commercial clients that are buffered, and there's no, as long as you just influence whatever they want you to influence, there's no like hard-pressed. I mean, this life is so much easier because we could just be artists and do what we want. As long as we kind of hit the target generally, they're okay with it because they want us to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Where over there, I'm working for clients, it's like, I want this to be exactly blue. You're just a computer printer that knows how to do this because I can communicate with you.
Yeah.
That's not the right blue.
Yeah.
I told you this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So
a thing like-
there's almost no artistry in there. There's technical skill,
Yeah.
but there's artistry in the way that we can express ourselves and be silly and. You have your quirks and your design quirks, and I do, and people like that about us and everybody, So that's the type of stuff that shines now more than ever in my life. So I'm milking this life where I'm doing technical stuff, and the voice I'm developing from a lot of that is I'm maybe 20% of my videos are real client work, and I can express myself through the filmmaking.
Yeah.
And the technical way I do things, I could have some artistry in the way I might make a cut or attach a piece of wood or show how things are done and a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah. That's a good segue in the next thing I want to talk about because you inspire so many people to start their own channel. We heard that a million times.
Right.
I got started because of you, you know that as
you.
well. I think to this day, you kept your production the production workflow pretty much the same as when you started getting seriously into YouTube, maybe like 4 years? Is that when you seriously got into it, or 5 years maybe?
I mean, when I got hired by Make, which was like 2013, 2014, so that's 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, so that was really because they became my private label client for my work, and I had to deliver 2 videos a month. And so I had to make them quick and easy so that they weren't so burdensome because they weren't really paying very well.
Yeah.
So I kind of worked within that. They were happy with whatever I gave them.
I think everybody is happy with what you're doing. And I just think it's very interesting that you keep it that way because me as a content creator, I get so nervous because everybody's getting so good. The technology is getting more available. There are also more people playing this game. So I personally feel pressure to come up with new stuff.
People like us. People develop a love for us because of the first few videos we've done. People say I've changed because I've done the vlog. But I feel like I've stayed the same. Many people know this, but more people don't know this, that when I first started YouTube, I kept myself silent. I was like, I'm going to sell my voice. I'm going to be on YouTube for free, giving away all these technical visuals and all these tricks visually, but I'm going to save my voice for when I get hired for TV. And then it got to a point where like, I don't want to go to TV. I just want to stay here in this world. And that's when I started doing my vlogs. And that became the TV show that I was hoping to land on a network. Where I could be myself, be kind of more like an Anthony Bourdain character. And then fans, by popular demand, fans started emailing me saying, you got to do the Casey Neistat stuff. You know, we all love him because of what he does and the ventures he gets into. And you hint at that, because I was doing a lot of Snapchat at the time. You hint at all this little fun behind the scenes stuff. Let's see it in a video. And that was like some real heartfelt emails I got from some fans. And so I remember doing the first one. I was like, let me try this. And the very first one I did, I had no plan to interview other makers. I was just kind of like, okay, this is my day. I'm driving here, I'm going here, I'm driving around. New York City's in the background. But that particular very first day, I decided to just start filming with my day-to-day. I had a meeting with my sister, who's a jewelry designer. So she's the very first artist that I interviewed. And so I was like, I go, oh, Kath, let me interview. Like I thought about it as I'm walking into her store to hang out with her for a few hours. I'm like, oh, let me interview my sister. She's a maker that nobody knows. And then like there in the light bulb, that was a light bulb moment for that particular series, was the day I was shooting the first one. I didn't say, I'm gonna do a vlog where I talk about myself a little bit, but I really wanna find people for segments. That really started that first day with my sister, so I was happy that came out.
I think the vlog is so perfect for you because it's just your lifestyle. You're not a maker to make money or to, I don't know, be big on YouTube. You were like a maker, it's in your DNA.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's funny, we're hanging out today and like every 5 minutes I have to do something. I'm like almost on autopilot, I have to keep busy. I can't just like sit and bullshit. I have to keep busy.
So how does the work-life balance thing works for you then? Because that's something that I do not associate with you at all. It's not that I think that your work-life balance is out of whack. I think you, like there is, like your life and your work is exactly the same thing.
It is.
Is that true?
Yeah. Thankfully, Taylor is really happy in her space because she could be right near me, and there's never that, oh, you never come home from work. Because she doesn't come home from work now lately too. Because her studio is where she wants it to be. And so we get along in that respect. You know, we kind of have our routine. A lot of times we'll go to bed together and then I'll creep out of bed and stay up all night. Or she just like fades watching TV or watching the iPad, watching news, and then I'm like, oh, she's dead to sleep. I'll just stay up till 5 in the morning tonight. She won't miss me. And then I'll creep into bed, and then I usually wake her up, and then she gets up at like 4 or 5 and goes and walks the dogs and then comes back to bed. So this has kind of been this pattern.
I feel like even if you had 3 assistants, people editing all your stuff, shooting all your stuff, you would still be as busy as
I'd just be busy with more tinkery stuff.
Yeah, you would form a band or something, come up with new things.
No, lately I got into the printing press stuff, and this particular week, of course, had some breakthroughs with Brett, you know, coming up with some really cool designs and coming up with a little bit more, like taking more of the appropriate approach. In the past, I'm like, I don't need hold downs, I'll use spray glue, and it became a mess. And you know, we're panicking, trying to get, like I'd spray glue too much and the paper would stick. Because I'm making prints, I'm pushing the limits of how big the printer will accept. So there is no room for clips in the earlier prints. But now, after taking a really closer look at it, there is room for hold downs and stuff. And I wasn't doing it that way. And now that I am, you printed today with us. And so you see how easy it is when you do it the right way. I was panicking.
Like, that's exactly really what I love about making. It's the instant result.
And you're like, I'm gonna give everybody I know one of these. You know, it's like, exactly. Everyone's gonna be so happy with this thing. So that's one thing I love about printing, is it's like a quick, easy thing that's like actually a piece of art. You know,
Reproducible.
I've always been inspired by Andy Warhol and the fact that he's had so many pieces of art in and around, and I've been inspired, I am still inspired by him and a lot of artists like Picasso and the guys that just made so much art like until their old age and just every day making more and more art. And the printing presses is a way, it's kind of like my silk screening. I talked to Brett in the springtime, I said, let's get more into silk screening this summer. It didn't really happen, but it's still on the agenda to do big screen prints and you know, sell like roll-up type posters. Who knows? I like the idea of doing bigger artwork.
Yeah.
ultimately. My goal was always to work and work and work and get to the point where I could just be an artist, just making stuff. And I'm definitely there.
I would love to see you there as well, like do more experimental stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good mix of like commercial art and fine art.
Yeah.
It's a good mix, and I really like it. Like, people wouldn't look at me and say, "Oh, you're like an artist like Picasso," but I feel like that because I get to do whatever I want.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
net result is some commercial. Maybe it's a commercial video or, commercial poster that kind of says some quirky thing on it.
Picasso did that too, right? You could hire him to get portraits. So it's not selling out if you get
Right.
money for your work.
Yeah.
So you've been one of the early YouTubers, I would say. The field is changing so much, I think. From when I started watching you, it was just you and a handful of other guys.
Right.
Now, which is a great thing, I think. So many more people started a channel and starting to make a career out of this.
Yeah.
Do you think there's room for more? Will this be saturated?
I think so. I mean, because if you what happens is you start thinking, you're like, oh, where did that guy go? We talked all the time and we haven't talked in 6 months. And then, there's one guy in particular I'm thinking of, and I'm like, hey, dude, is everything all right? He's like, oh, yeah, I got my regular job, Ken McCollin, and I had to go back, for more money or whatever. So people are it's gonna ebb and flow. It's gonna come and go, and there are going to be little trends, like, for instance, the printing press thing. We were sitting at the dinner table last night when, like, 2 guys that I talk to all the time are buying printing presses because of my videos. So there's going to be a whole new, like, thing of stuff like that. There's going to be guys that are doing casting, live casting, and, there's going to be, like, little splinter. There's, like, the whole Nerdist group of guys, like, that are printing cosplay stuff.
Yeah.
And, Brett's crew and the whole pirate stuff, like, and the blacksmithing thing. So I love all the different pockets that are developing. The fact, and they're developing because there's more people.
Yeah.
When it was just, one guy doing this and one guy doing that, like, all the blacksmiths are together. And I have my machinist crew, and I'm slowly developing my printing crew, mostly through Instagram. And I love the fact that there's more people, so there's more categories.
Yeah.
And the categories are really good people everywhere.
I think the same thing. I think it's not getting crowded, it's just getting more diverse, and that's good for everybody.
Yeah.
So the last question, what do you think makes a maker? Because I think it's such a broad term, and I know I always wanted to be called a maker, but I didn't know, when's the point that I was a maker? So when do you think?
I think everybody, I mean, this is going to sound hokey, but I think everybody is born a maker because we're all inherent human beings that are put on the earth. And if it wasn't all the modern technology that came before every baby that's born, they would have to fend for themselves and pick up a rock and start to create something, create a chip, create an arrowhead. So I think it's in everybody's DNA. And it's been suppressed because of technology and because of domestication, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like we're all like little puppies that are waiting to get fed, right? But there was a time when we would have to go out and get our own food, not as a baby, of course, but, as young adults. And so I think it's in our DNA that we're all makers, and some people unleash it. And when they unleash it, it's like they have a complete awakening. I mean, how many people have we met at get-togethers, and they're just like, they're like crying, telling you like what a realization their life has become.
Yeah.
And that's the feel-good thing about it, is that it's like they've discovered this, lost chain in their DNA that's always been there, but they just went to college and became a doctor instead of pursuing wood carving or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think everybody's a maker.
That's awesome.
Looking at the camera.
That's a cool place to wrap it up, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the
Awesome.
time.
Thank you.
man.
You
Now let's eat.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's eat.
Awesome. Thanks for coming here. I like when you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was fun.